Today we're going to review the GeoGraphix 2015 release. That's a very feature-rich release. We have a lot to go over. We'll review the geology and geophysical features that we've added in 2015. Take a look at GeoGraphix Pro. GeoGraphix Pro is our integrated well planning, field planning, and 3D visualization environment. And preview our 2015.1 release. The 2015 release went out in August, about 2 months ago. The 2015.1 release, that's the first patch, will be out next month. So what you'll see today is sort of a mixture of both, but I'll make it clear which feature is in what release, but the patch release will be out within probably mid-November. So let's review the geology features first. Probably the most important thing that we've done in the geology, our geology applications, is really focus on performance around our geomodeling application, and that is Smartsection. We have been able to initialize our interpretations faster. We're able to create cross-sections faster and pick tops faster within the geomodel. And I'll show you what that means here in just a bit. So Smartsection is a geomodeling application. So it's an integrated map and cross-section environment. Underneath that environment is actually a 3D sealed geological framework. And that's the modeling engine. So for instance, when you make a pick on a cross-section, the model updates automatically, and not only that one surface will update, but all other surfaces update also within the model. The model is controlled by these modeling tools that you see up here in the right-hand corner. These tools control conformance, fault cutting, cross-cutting relationships. You're able to create subcrop maps using these tools. So instead of naively modeling a surface just based on picks, the surfaces are modeled based on the relationships, the conformance relationships, and the constraint relationships you set up within the model. So for instance, one formation can control the conformance of 2 or 3 other formations below it. Maybe there's an nonconformity, and you can set up more conformance relationships below it. The principle of uniform horizontality is applied, and what you end up with is a very realistic geological interpretation of the subsurface. So when we use these modeling tools, we now do not have to apply them separately. So basically, the modeling tools can be applied all at once, and that increases performance considerably. We also have a new quick pick mode. In any geomodeling tool, when you create a new pick, the surface, the model will update automatically. Now, in general, when you have 10 to 100 wells in the model, performance tends to be very good, but in some of the plays that our customers are currently in, they will have up to 2 or 3, sometimes 5 or 10,000 wells in the model, and obviously that's a lot of when the model updates, that can cause a little bit of a lag. So we've developed the quick pick mode. You can now pick across your cross section as fast as you want. Basically as fast as you can click the mouse button, and at the end you can apply the modeling. So once you do all your picks, you can update the model. The model updates all at once, and again, it really increases the performance and of the Smartsection application. We have updated the Geosurface Model Properties dialog box. This is where you set up the conformance relationships between your surface. I'm not going to go into all of this unless you actually use Smartsection. Some of this may not make too much sense, but it is basically it's been the functionality and UI has improved, and you can see all the constraint options at once. We can now display survey points directly on the wellbore in SmartStrat, which is our geosteering tool. So you can display your survey points with MD, TBD, TBD subsea at any location along the wellbore. Now here's a function feature that I really like. As I mentioned earlier, Smartsection is really an integrated map and cross-section environment. If you draw the cross-section on the map, now you can actually drag the cross-section to any portion on the map, the line of section on the map, anywhere that you like. The cross-section then updates automatically, and the seismic backdrop, depth-converted seismic backdrop, will update automatically behind the cross-section. We always try to maintain or focus on usability in all of our applications. And so here, there's just a few small things that we've done to improve the usability. Now you can use your middle mouse button to pan and view around the map view and in the cross-section. Just makes things a little bit easier for you. We do realize that our customers have a great deal of investment in their existing cross-sections. So X-Section is our presentation cross-section tool. It's been around for many, many years. It's very robust. It doesn't have a geomodeling engine attached to it like Smartsection does, but folks have done an awful lot of work and created a great number of cross-sections. So we've come up with a common cross-section format. It's an XML format. It allows users to go ahead and open up a cross-section. They created an X-section directly in Smartsection. Or if you want to save your cross-section in Smartsection, you can then open it up in X-section. So it will facilitate the migration from X-section to Smartsection. Or alternatively, for presentation type environment, you can go the other way. So you can open up your Smartsection interpretations, cross-sections directly in X-section. Prism is our petrophysical tool. It's a very robust petrophysical interpretation tool, log interpretation tool. It has a user-defined equation writer attached to it. We have added a new brittleness equation and the new UDE matrix ID group to the list of equations that you can use. Basically, what the equation writer does is it allows you to cobble together any number of different equations, such as the Archie equation and on and on and on, in order to create a actually very sophisticated petrophysical models that you can then apply. IHS has come out with a new raster depth registration format. For folks that are not in North America, maybe rasters aren't used quite as much, but if you do use them and you do use the IHS, you do have an IHS subscription, IHS is only shipping their raster depth registrations in the new XML format. We now support that format. Okay, let's look at the geophysics feature review. We've also spent a lot of time improving our geophysical offerings. And this is SeisVision. SeisVision is an integrated 2D, 3D seismic interpretation package. It's been on the market for many, many years. It's a feature-rich package. And we've spent, well, probably maybe 50% or more of our time, of our resources during this cycle, improving the geophysics in GeoGraphix. So the first thing we did was we improved the velocity modeling. Now we have options to create the velocity model so that you can comprehend lateral velocity variations. There's better accommodation of lateral velocity gradient in depth converted trace data as compared to average velocity grids. And there's an option to create a static velocity volume using interval velocities. And this can really improve the velocity model considerably. You can see here that sometimes with average velocities, the velocities are smeared a little bit. Using interval velocities, you get much more defined velocities that conform to the lithologies, the differing beds and lithologies in the subsurface. One nice thing you can do with the tool now is that we have the dynamic depth conversion feature. So if you were to, for instance, put some interwell points directly in your seismic, you can update and refresh the model in real time. So as the model is updated, it will reflect the recent changes to the model. And the seismic backdrop in Smartsection and in the in SeisVision will be updated automatically. And it'll provide some feedback for your decision making. And you can see here, maybe you can't really see it very well, but as you sort of turn on the model, you can see that we dynamically update the velocity model and your seismic updates in real time. There have been some fault interpretation improvements. We use predominantly triangulation in the geomodeling engine. Some of the fault segments, you know, the previous algorithm that we used had some issues. The new triangulated fault surfaces now are much improved. I think you'll see that. We've made improvements to LMKR volume attributes, and I'll talk a bit about this a little bit later on when we talk about our new GeoVerse applications. But our volume attributes package creates extremely high quality attributes, phase, frequency, expression-based attributes, probably 40 to 50 different attributes, including semblance. We've actually added a new enhanced fault attribute to the volume attributes package that you can see right here. That creates a level of detail that you would not be able to achieve if you were just using semblance. Always usability enhancements. I won't go over this in too much detail here, but we always try to increase the usability of all of the packages, all of the applications in every release, at least in some small way. And this is usually based on customer feedback. We have made significant performance improvements for very large data sets. SeisVision, of course, can handle large seismic volumes, but in some of the plays that our customers are in, they may have up to 10 to 20,000 wells in their seismic. Along with their seismic, we've improved the performance of loading those wells into the interpretation drastically. So probably up to 2 orders of magnitude. Much, much faster. Now let's go to the Pro 3D feature review. Now the Pro package is that integrated field well planning package along with a 3D visualization environment. Here's another area that we spend considerable time working on in the 2015.0 release. Now what we've done is we've completely revamped the architecture, both to increase the stability and the speed and the number of 3D objects that you can put in the 3D scene. We build Pro 3D on Microsoft gaming technology, so it's all built on DirectX. We use the shaders on the GPU to render the entire 3D scene. What this means is that performance is very, very good, and memory usage is kept to a minimum. We feel that just as far as performance and resolution is concerned, our 3D visualization environment matches up against anything in the market right now. It's really amazing what the new gaming technology has been able to achieve, and what using it the resolution as well as the speed that you can get by using that technology. So let me just go back here. We have easier context-aware navigation within the scene. You can move around within the scene with the mouse and the keyboard. Also, you can move around with it with a gaming console if you'd like to do it that way also. GeoModel 3D surfaces from Smartsection. This is the Smartsection geomodeling engine. These are the surfaces generated by the engine that I was talking about previously. Those are visible directly in the 3D scene. When you move a pick, or you basically add a pick, or move a pick, a top in the model, the surface is updated immediately in the 3D scene. Not only is that surface updated, but all conformable surfaces are updated also. We can display well-to-well cross-sections now directly from Smartsection. So again, in this view, you can not only display your surfaces, but you can display your cross-sections as fence diagrams well-to-well within the view. Any layer on your map can be overlain on any surface in the 3D view. So if you have a satellite image, if you have a well-based layer, if you have a land grid layer that you would like to overlay on the surface, that can be done. Any layer, and of course GeoGraphix is a GIS application, so it's all layer-based, all shapefile layers. All of those shapefile layers can be draped on any surface in the 3D view. We've added the ability to visualize pie and bubble charts in the well production in the 3D space, and this is in the newest release. Also, we've added the ability to visualize your zone attributes. So this is non-structured data that you bring in via a spreadsheet or just a simple XY using our XY loader. These attributes can be assigned to a zone, any zone that you have you've created within GeoGraphix, and all of those zone attributes now can be displayed as in the 3D view along the wellbore. So here, this is a sort of an interesting view. One of the things that we are able to do within the 3D visualization environment and within Pro 3D is that we can drape seismic around any 3D object. So here we've draped seismic directly around a highly deviated wellbore. The 3D environment, as I mentioned before, is integrated with the well and field planning tools. So for instance, if you were to move a target location in the well planning view, that target location would automatically be changed within the 3D model, and the wellbore trajectory within the 3D model will be updated accordingly. You can see that right there. Just like in any other GeoGraphix application, you can use the View Well functionality to view a well from one application to another. So here, if you were to select a well in Pro 3D, you could then show that well in GeoAtlas, which is the mapping application, in Prism, in the well base application, which is the well data management application, in your cross sections and zone manager and Smartsection. So the basic functionality works like any other GeoGraphix application, where you can immediately select a well in any application and view it in any other application. We've added the ability to move formation tops in 3D, and the cross-section actually will automatically update when you do this. In 3D, sometimes it doesn't make a great deal of sense to do this, unless you have good quality log data. In the 3D environment, you can actually put your entire Prism template along the wellbore to help you make that pick. So you're not just doing it based on seismic or doing it based on, you can actually see your entire log template along the wellbore. And once you pick or move that pick in 3D space, your cross-section will update automatically. So properties located on the bottom of the screen. This is the object properties panel. As you move your cursor within the 3D scene, you get updated information about what 3D object that the cursor is over, as well as where you are in the 3D scene. Within 3D, it can become a little bit confusing because it's difficult to find where you are in the 3D scene. This properties panel allows you to very quickly zero in and understand what it is that you've selected. For a customer request, you can now measure distances from any 3D object, any other 3D object within the scene. And we've added some seismic animation controls. So this is depth converted seismic that we've depth converted using the active velocity model within SeisVision. You can use the animation controls to move an arb line or a cross line or an inline through the model and watch the seismic update accordingly. And I really like this new feature. Instead of viewing your attributes that you would create with volume attributes as a slice, you can now drape those attributes on any surface. So if you had a target surface, for instance, and what would happen is that the attributes would be sampled along that target surface. So you get a very accurate representation of that attribute on your surface. Okay, so let's go to the data management feature review. We'll just go over this a little bit. You can now honor protected data within the spreadsheet importer. This is a long-time customer request where before we were not able to do this, although we do honor protected data when we import through our DEFCON engine, and that imports the IHS 298 or the ASCII or the Tobin formats that so many people use. There was a loophole when you moved data into the system through the spreadsheet importer, and this is it's just an Excel macro. That loophole has been closed, and we do honor protected data now. So if you were to protect, for instance, your lat longs for a well, we would not overwrite them if you were to import data through the spreadsheet importer. You can now apply a filter when calculating formations. This is a new feature that we've added just recently as our project sizes have grown, and grown. Calculating formations for over 500,000 wells can take a long time. So now you can apply a filter and only calculate the formations for a single group of wells, increasing the performance quite a bit. As some of you may know, we do use the Esri ArcGIS runtime engine as the basis for all of our mapping. So a shapefiles are our basic mapping format. We import shapefiles, we export shapefiles. Mapping in GeoGraphix works much the same way as mapping in Esri ArcMap. We now have added support for Esri ArcGIS 10.2.1. We do continue support for ArcGIS 10.1. When you install GeoGraphix, you do install the Esri mapping environment. And we've also, and this is will be in the 2015.1 release, we've added some Gverse applications. Now, the Gverse applications are plug-and-play applications that are usable or can be used with your GeoGraphix projects. And I'll just go over them briefly here. The first is the GeoGraphix Petrel connector. Well data, number of different well data types, along with faults and horizons and grids can be moved from Petrel into GeoGraphix and from GeoGraphix back into Petrel. Now that'll be available, it's in beta now, and it'll be available in mid-November. We also, along with our volume attributes tool, we've added a front end to our volume attributes tool called Advanced Seismic Attributes. The volume attributes tool works wonderfully, but when you create a volume, especially a large volume, it can be an iterative process, can take a very long time as you try to dial in the attribute, the parameters for the attribute that you want to create. Using the advanced seismic attributes, you can preview 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 different attributes all at once. This is done on the GPU. When you're satisfied with the attribute that you want to create a volume for, you can go ahead and do that. It will increase productivity least by an order of magnitude. So what we might have taken maybe a day with a number of iterations or a couple days to create an attribute volume that you found acceptable, that can be done literally in a matter of only a few hours now. So an order of magnitude improvement in productivity with our advanced seismic attributes package. We also have come out with a new web-based geosteering package. So this is a geosteering completely within the browser. This application is built on HTML5 technology. You can geosteer a well online, offline, attached to your network, VPN'd in or not VPN'd in. The application uses an HTML5 database called IndexedDB to store LWD data, survey data, as well as your type logs, your grids, and the well data itself in the database inside the browser. So you don't necessarily have to be online to geosteer the well. You can do it offline, but when you are online, the application connects immediately back to your GeoGraphix project. So as you drag in LWD or an updated survey, those surveys and logs, LAS files, the log files, can immediately be put back into GeoGraphix. We support WITSML 131 with the tool also. So if there is a 131 WITSML server available that a geologist or a company has credentials for, you can type in those credentials into the tool and retrieve your LWD and survey information in real time. If you're connected to the network, you can get your GeoGraphix project literally within a matter of seconds. So we have high hopes for this tool. It's also integrated with Smartstrat. Smartstrat is the geosteering tool that is currently in the Smartsection application. It's a great tool. However, for 24/7 geosteering and for folks that have to do it midnight or well, basically any time of the day or night, it's a little bit heavy. However, the model files that Smartstrat uses can be generated within the web-based tool and then sent directly back to GeoGraphix. So as you interpret, as you geosteer the well and build your interpretation, all of those updated pics can then be sent back to the model. The model can be updated in real time and then sent back through web services to this application. So it's a very sophisticated tool, and it makes it very, very easy to geosteer wells. It's easy to load data, and it's easy to get your data back into your GeoGraphix project. And it's also easy to use if you have to use it at 3 o'clock in the morning. One more tool that we've developed, and we've developed this in collaboration with a company called Lumina. Lumina provides an inversion engine called Mulan, and we've integrated that engine into SeisVision. So now you can combine your seismic volume with your well logs, sonic or density, and perform an inversion, and out will, you'll be able to create a petrophysical volume. So that volume may be saturation or porosity, etc. And you can see here that you can use that inversion technology to create those volumes and then view them both in the 3D scene and in SeisVision. So it's it's a new application, and it really adds to the amount of power that SeisVision that you can attain with SeisVision. So here's just the web geosteering tool. It's a little bit easier to see. You can see here the advanced seismic analysis tool, where you have 3 or 4 or 5, maybe even more attributes that are being updated in real time. And the performance here is almost instantaneous. So you can preview those attributes, any of the attributes that you would like to create within the volume. So it could be semblance, it could be amplitude, whatever you like.